Let me guess, you're exhausted, stressed, and the last thing you want is another lecture about dieting. If you tried everything, but every time you fast or try to eat healthy, those cravings hit you like a freight train. I get it, because I've been there. Here's the good news. Fasting doesn't have to feel like a constant battle with hunger. In fact, I'm going to show you how I beat my fasting cravings by treating my body like a toddler. And yes, it actually works. In the next few minutes, you will learn the science behind cravings, why your brain makes you obsess over food, and most importantly, a simple plan to finally take back control. So if you're tired of cravings winning every single time, stick with me. Because by the end of this video, you will know how to turn fasting from a struggle into a breakthrough. Now you might be wondering, who am I to talk about fasting and cravings? My name is Basswood, and like many of you, I've struggled with food cravings my entire life. When I first started fasting at the tender age of 18, I thought it would be a magical erase of all of the cravings, but instead, I realized that cravings were just as strong and sometimes even worse. Now, over time, through research and my own experience of 28 years of 3 and 6 week fasts, I discovered a way to beat cravings without feeling deprived. And today, I'm sharing exactly how I did it so you don't have to struggle like I did. Now, here's what we're going to cover in this video. The surprising science of cravings, why they are not the same as hunger, how your hunger hormones and the brain's reward pathways actually drive cravings, the most common food people crave and why it's almost always chocolate, and finally, my personal method, how I beat my fasting cravings by treating my body like a toddler, having a tantrum. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is a craving? Science defines a craving as a strong, urgent, or abnormal desire for a certain substance or activity. But let's put that into plain English. A craving is that moment when your brains feel hijacked and you can't stop thinking about that chocolate bar, bag of chips, or a pizza. Here's the important part. Cravings are not the same as hunger. Hunger is your body's way of saying, I need fuel. But cravings can happen even when you're not hungry at all. Why? Because cravings are often driven by hormones and brain chemistry, not actual nutritional need. So when your hunger hormones are out of balance, your appetite can spike, and your brain starts lighting up those reward pathways that make you obsess over food. This is why cravings are so powerful. They are tied to the same decision-making regions in our brain that control habits and reward. Now, this is important. When you understand that cravings come from our brain, not our stomach, we can realize we are not broken. We are just dealing with biology. Now, a quick question for you. What food do you crave the most when you're fasting? Drop it in the comments, because I guarantee a lot of us are struggling with the same thing. So, how do you know if it's hunger or just a craving? Well, hunger builds gradually. It comes with physical cues like your stomach growling, low energy, you're irritable. Now, cravings, on the other hand, often show up as intrusive or compulsive thoughts. You suddenly can't stop picturing that slice of cake. Or maybe you were fine until someone else eats in front of you, and suddenly you need it. Now, if you catch yourself obsessing over food in your head, that's not hunger, that's a craving. Now, recognizing this difference is the first step to controlling them. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Chocolate. In almost every study on cravings, chocolate tops the list. Scientists even call it chocoholism. It's engineered to hit those pleasure and reward circuits in our brain harder than almost any other food. So if chocolate cravings are your weakness, you are not alone. But again, that craving doesn't mean your body needs chocolate. It means your brain is chasing dopamine, the feel-good chemical. And once you see it that way, you can start to break the cycle. Now, sometimes cravings do carry a message. For example, food cravings can mean your body isn't eating enough or that you are missing certain nutrients. But more often than not, cravings are just mental. That's why when I fast, my cravings are different. I don't crave candy or chips or even chocolate. I crave simple whole foods like fresh bread or fruit. I think that this is because my body is missing that food texture, the freshness, the feeling of biting into an apple and the way it rolls around in my mouth when I chew it. And here's the crazy thing. It's actually easier to withstand cravings when you're fasting because I am not eating anything at all. So why are diets different than fasting when it comes to cravings? Well, in my mind, you are still chewing, you are still tasting, you are still feeding the craving cycle. But when you're fasting, once you realize it's all or nothing, it becomes a mental game. So I don't eat anything for 3 weeks. I can have that chocolate bar in, I don't know, a month. All right, now this is the part that you've been waiting for. How I beat my fasting cravings by treating my body like a toddler. Here's how I think about it. Cravings are just tantrums. My brain screams, I want it, and I want it now, like my toddler did. But if you've ever dealt with a toddler, you know the trick. It's distraction. You don't argue with the toddler. You don't give in every time they want candy. You redirect them. A shiny new toy, a dog that just went by, a fancy new swing in the park, something to shift their focus. And that's exactly how I deal with fasting cravings. When my brain says, give me that food right now, I give it something else. I occupy my hands and my mind with a walk, with a project, with a good book, with writing my novel. And just like a toddler, within minutes, the craving is gone. And this is the biggest fasting hack I can share. Don't fight cravings head on. Outsmart them. Once you learn how to shift your attention, fasting cravings lose their power. So, what's your go-to distraction when cravings hit? Let's build a list in the comments to help each other out. All right, let's wrap this up. I've talked about the science of cravings, how to recognize them, why chocolate is the #1 craving, and what your body might actually be telling you. And of course, I shared my Toddler Method, the simple mindset that helped me finally overcome fasting cravings without breaking my fast. But here's the bottom line. Cravings don't control you. They're just signals from our brain. And once you know how to redirect them, fasting becomes easier, more powerful, and even enjoyable. Now, if you're ready to take your fasting to the next level, I've got the perfect video for you, the Broy's Fasting Method. In that video, I share the fasting method I use in my 3-week fasts where I never feel hungry. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. And before you go, let me ask, what is the hardest craving you ever had to fight during a fast? Share it in the comments, because your story might be the one that inspires someone else to keep going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.